Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday night DE Band of Brothers call. We're excited to see you all the night before Valentine's Day. Hope that you all are ready to share your hearts with everyone tomorrow, and as always, but hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day planned for tomorrow. I know my office is going to be jam-packed we had a raffle, count the number of kisses in a jar, and the kids are getting vicious and super competitive over who's gonna win the raffle. So let's see here, some announcements we've got. Number one, April DE, April 18th through the 21st. That's coming up. Make sure you get your hotel room. Here's the big deal for this one. Remember, it's also spring break. So we want to make sure that all of those rooms are accounted for. If we have any issues, make sure you let us know. But that room window is still open. So go ahead and get your room booked. I think we have like right at a month before that is closed off for us. So make sure you get those things booked. In addition to April DE, we've also got July and October, July 18th, 21st, and then October 24th through 27th. Those are going to be in Atlanta. We're going to get back to the promised land of Atlanta. And also, it's important to note, make sure you put that October date on the calendar because that is the 60th anniversary gala. We are going to celebrate each other. We're going to celebrate DE. We're going to celebrate Dr. Sid and all the legacy that he created for us, and honor Dee Dee Umber as well. So the 60th anniversary is at the October DE in Atlanta. Make your plans now. Great. Okay, so tonight we've got a treat because we have a first-time speaker. We have a fellow with a big giant heart. He was born for DE. I'm absolutely so excited to hear what he has to say, and I can't wait to hear him share his heart. From Overland Park, Kansas. I think there was a big game won by their team recently. He might be able to tell us about that. But everybody, please welcome JJ Schmidt.
Hey, thank you for having me. Really excited to be on this. I've been watching these for years now, and just I really like the way that I can get to know people on these calls and hear where they're from, their different experiences, and it's kind of a focused time. I know a lot of times being at DE, being in the hallways at DE, you get to meet people, but just to really get a little deeper on these calls, I feel like is really helpful for me. So I'm looking forward to just sharing who I am and part of my story, and hopefully it helps somebody who's going through some stuff, or is going to go through some stuff, or yeah, just get to know each other better, so that next time we cross paths at DE, we can just be more connected. And so I'm really grateful for a few people. Well, let me start off too. First of all, I got to congratulate the Chiefs. This is our third Super Bowl win in 4 years. So there's a huge parade tomorrow downtown, and Kansas City is getting really good at just having these huge celebrations downtown, these big parades. And so I'm curious how that'll go tomorrow. And the weather's supposed to be nice here. It's supposed to be like sunny and 60 in Kansas City, which is unusual for February. And so there's a lot of red with Valentine's Day and with the Chiefs win. The whole city is just red right now, and people are just really excited. And so I think the Chiefs have put Kansas City on the map. The Chiefs and Andy Harding have put Kansas City on the map. That's I remember being at DE a few years ago, and they asked everybody from Kansas City to stand up, and there was like a whole section of the room that stood up from Kansas City. And I think it goes back to the DE intensive that was done here just over 6 years ago. And Andy started, having the Band of Brothers meetings on campus there at Cleveland, which is only it's maybe a mile from my office here, Cleveland Chiropractic. And so I was going to that, and just really enjoyed the realness, the authenticity of the group there. And um, we got to plug in with their speakers that would come in, and speak to us as a small group. And just like this, they would come in and kind of talk to us. And then, so I got to know some of you guys just through that. And then the intensive came along, and I was really grateful for, a couple of people stand out really from that. A couple of people would be, like Justin Quayle was there. I just remember thinking, man, that guy is just so dynamic. He's just so fun loving. He's just so, just real, just authentic. That's what I want. I want to be able to be myself like that. And and Drew Henderson was there. I think Dawn might have been there too, actually. There was quite a few people there that just, man, I think now looking back, I'm like, that was a kind of a big, um, almost like a sacrifice to go. You're already going every 3 months traveling to either Atlanta or Florida, and to be able to come in the middle of that and go to an intensive. I don't know. Can't really think of too many intensives since then anywhere. So I feel really honored to be able to be at that and really just planted some seeds in my heart. At the time, I was really struggling in practice. Um, like Andy talks about, being a mixer. I was a pretty big mixer at the time, but struggling. That's the hard part. That's weird. Like I was a struggling mixer, which you think, if you're a mixer, you're doing it for money. You have all these extra modalities and things you can charge for, then you're, making good income at least. But I was not doing it. I was not. I didn't believe in what I was doing. Honestly, is what it was. So I started out, graduated from Cleveland in 2000. I just got married, and we had a little girl, a little baby girl, and she was born in, let's see, 2003, and moved to Olathe. I was actually doing an internship, a preceptorship with a DE doctor that I didn't even know at the time. And looking back now, I know. But Michael Pardun, he was in Blue Springs, and I did a 3 month internship over there in his office. And he let me borrow like audios, Reggie Gold, and these different audios I'd listened to. I was trying to pass part three at the time, and I actually had to retake part three twice. So I took part three times. It was really a dark time in my just getting out of school and being married, and being a new dad, and just all of a sudden like I can't get my license, because I can't pass part three. I took Irene Gold, board review, the second time. I didn't take it the first time because I thought it would be easy. I just kept hearing part three was easy. So I took it the second time in Davenport, Iowa, which was really a blessing looking back. Like, man, I got to go to the Fountainhead, and just see all this history there, and just feel that the spirit in Davenport, Iowa, where it all began at. And so I took the board review there. I think it was like 3 days, and came back, took the test, failed it. And Irene had she had like a guarantee. So if you didn't pass, then you got to retake a review for free. And so I retook the review. This one was like a week-long review, and it was in Atlanta. So I went to the Life campus, and that's my first time being there, and that was really surreal. Just, man, I got to visit some cool places because of this trial of not passing part three. So we stayed there for a week, and um, so I'm kind of jumping around, but that was a key part of my life that stood out. Just the struggle of, man, I'm a doctor, but I can't practice for like a full year. I couldn't practice, so I'm like, what do I do? Do I go get a job at a coffee shop? I was just doing like construction for a friend of mine, getting paid cash, and doing like, I think I worked as a front desk assistant for another chiropractor. That was his practice was called Straight Chiropractic. So I was exposed to the principles during that time, but then and I wanted to start my own practice at that time. I was really desiring to start my own practice, and couldn't get financed for that. I was very naive when it came to starting a practice. Dr. Pardun was going to a management group at the time as well, so I got some like a taste of that what a management group looked like, and and there's parts I just really didn't care for. Just yeah. Anyway, I really needed to make some money, so I took an associateship in Olathe, which is a few miles from here, just south of Overland Park. Took an associateship, and it was for a group of 10 doctors, and they were open 7 days a week. So I was the weekend doctor. I covered Saturday, Sunday, like 8 to 5, and then I was there during the week until 7, and did a lot of marketing. So out and about in the community, doing screenings and talks evenings and weekends. So I was away from my family quite a bit, and that's stuff you do to build a practice. But I wasn't really sold on that model because it was insurance based, pain based. When I first started the practice in the practice, joined the practice, they put me on every insurance, I was in network with every insurance company from the beginning, which I thought was a good thing at the time, but it just became the worst thing ever. So I was there 6.5 years, and then I started my own practice, did a sublease, and did that for a couple years. This practice came for sale, and actually a doctor had passed away in the area, and so I was able to purchase the practice from his widow. And it was a lot of equipment. He had a lot of therapies, muscle stem, roller tables, ultrasound, lasers. He had everything you can imagine jammed into this, like, I think it was like 3,000 square foot office. And thankfully, the lease was expired. So I was able to move to a different location. So I just stepped in, started seeing patients, told his wife that, I'd like to possibly purchase it. And so we worked out a deal and got a really good price on all the equipment, moved it to a new location. So we were able to do the build out, moved here, and been here for coming up on 12 years. It's been 11 and a half years been in this location. So big picture, been in practice like 20 years. 10 of it was just, doing associateships and kind of struggling to get by doing that. And then started my own practice and struggling to build that. Um, so then, I go to DE, I go to the intensive, and it's just like a breath of fresh air. It's just, I had just bought this stand for my laser that I bought with the practice. And so, like, maybe I'll do laser, maybe I'll do all these other therapies, but I couldn't sell it. I just didn't believe in it. So anyway, when I got to my first DE event, other than the intensive, I went to the Sarasota event, and that was awesome. I was actually, at the time, I was behind on my rent, 3 months, 3 months behind on my rent here in this office. I was no 5 months, 5 months behind on rent in this office. I was 3 months behind on my mortgage with my house. So I was like stressed to the max. But I knew what Andy was saying. I was like, I just need to get there. I just need to go, and I just need something different. So I actually borrowed money from my mom. At the time, I'm like almost 45 years old, borrowing money from my mom, and I think I got like $1,000 or $1,200 to be able to go down to Sarasota, and it was amazing. It was just so refreshing. I just remember Walter Sanchez, and I remember chiropractor Howie. I sat next to him, and I remember getting my first upper cervical adjustment from Walter Sanchez, and stepping outside after that into that area behind the hotel there in Sarasota, the Hyatt, and the sun was just coming up over the top of the building. So I felt the sun. It was January, so I came from Kansas, where it was really cold. Go to Florida, get my first upper cervical adjustment. The sun just comes up right in my face. I'm just taking it in, just like thanking God for this place, this safe place. It was a very safe place. I felt, just be able to come home to this place where I could just go. And I talked to Justin Quayle that night for probably an hour, before I went to bed, and I felt, this husks just coming off that first night. Um, One thing that stands out, I remember Dean Santilli was laying there on the table getting adjusted after everything, and his son, who was, probably my son's age now. I think he was my son's 6, so his son goes running by, maybe 5 or 6 years old, goes running by and like, "You're the man, Dad." And I was like, "Oh, man, this is so cool." Just his family's here with him. I hear all these families being here, being raised here, and I'm like, "This is what I want. I want my family to be raised at DE." And, so I got to see that this, past, DE in Clearwater. My family came with me. Actually, the first time in Clearwater, which was, gosh, it was probably about 4 years ago, I'm guessing now, when we went to the well, it was during the whole mask thing. So I guess it was like 3 years ago in Clearwater. But all 3 of my kids came with me to DE and my wife. So I wanted to do that again. So I brought my daughter and my, youngest to this past DE. And my oldest son, he moved to Hawaii. So he's been down there for a while, but, he'll be back. So anyway, that's, part of my story is just, um, starting off just really struggling, bought this practice. When I came back from that DE, I just got rid of everything. I got rid of all the muscle stim. I got rid of the ultrasound. I got rid of the roller tables, hydro massage. One is kind of cool because I sold the hydro massage on Craigslist, and it was a doctor in St. Louis that bought it. And his CA had a sister that lived here in Kansas City who became a patient, and then her husband became a patient, and then his like coworkers became patients. And one of his coworkers, this is a few years ago that I sold all that stuff, and now they're still like I've made more revenue from the sale of that hydro massage just because all these people have come from that, and it's just fun just getting to know these people and just being so like involved in their life, and just I don't know. I'm so grateful just to have a new perspective on practice and just really seeing people for who they are, just like these beings that just desire truth and desire love and affection and connection. And so, yeah, it's just DE has really just given me so much in that way. So I really appreciate that. See where we're at here. I think it's been about 10 minutes. Oh, 20 minutes already. So I better move along. Um, our band of brothers is now meeting again on campus. So I'm excited to start plugging back into that. There's different seasons we go through, of course, but Mason Howell was a part of that original one. I think he just moved back to Kansas City. So I'm excited to see him again. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of changes that happened. A mentor of mine right now is Chase Dice, and he has just helped me so much. Him and Tim Zook. Tim Zook is just, man, I tell you what, it was cool because I went to this men's group 2 years ago, and it was called the Quest for Authentic Manhood. And a guy that was in our band of brothers actually invited me to it, Chris Harris. And we went for, I think it was like 3 months to this class. And one of the things, it just exposed, wounds. It was like unpacking your backpack. And one of the wounds I discovered I had was a lack of mentor wound. And so I thought, man, I've had plenty of men in my life growing up, but no one really ever pulled me aside, put their arm around me and said, "Hey, I see something in you that I think we can develop and grow." And I just like, I listened to all these people, like 20 men throughout my life, uncles and, friends, dads and coaches and teachers. And I'm like, what is it that why weren't they mentors to me? And I realized I had this guard up, I was blocking that. I um I wasn't letting them in my life. And so when I realized that, I called Tim Zook. I was like, you know what? I feel like you could be a good mentor for me. And we've talked, quite a few times, and he's helped me a lot. And he pointed me to Chase. And so me and Chase have grown pretty close in our friendship. And the cool thing is, like, he's like, you know what? I can help you over the phone and everything, but it'd probably be best if you just come down here. So about a year and a half ago, I got an airline ticket and I flew down to Dallas and drove over to Fort Worth, Burleson, and stayed at his house with him and his family and went to his practice for like 3 days. I shadowed him, and he just took me in. Like I was just part of his family. He didn't know me at all, really. He just like, yeah, come on down and stay with me. And he fed me, and he like just walked me through like what he's doing and what's working. And gosh, it was just so powerful. And so now we talk on a weekly basis. I went down there again just a few months ago and stayed with him and went to his practice for a day. And um, it's just it's just amazing. Like I wouldn't have gotten that, I don't think, from like the management groups I went and kind of visited or whatever, like there was the nuts and bolts and there was like some principle, but I didn't have like I don't think I would have had that kind of fellowship, that kind of connection, that kind of just come on in and let me embrace you and I wanted to see you grow type of thing. So just really grateful for that. One of the things that Chase did, he challenged me recently was to get this jar because I'm adding a few things in the office. I just hired a CA, which I was hesitant to do that because I had a CA before and there's just a lot of troubles that went along with that. So I just hired a CA last week. She started on Monday, and it's been awesome. She's doing great. And then my wife also helps out in the office with me. That's a dream come true. I've always wanted that. And so and then he also challenged me to get my X-ray machine updated because I had an old CR digitizer that was just taking forever to process our images. So I just got my direct digital in place this past week. So it's been a big week for us. And so I was like kind of anxious about all that stuff, and he said, get this jar, write down a bunch of things, that different um, times when you were down on your luck and didn't think things were going to work out, but then they did work out. So I thought I'd just kind of pull a couple things out of there because, there's, I don't know, there's just stories that maybe you can connect with. This one says, when we decided to go cash and change over our software, and my front desk assistant gave me a 2 weeks notice right after I did that. So that was pretty much right after I came back from Sarasota that first time. And I was like, okay, I need my software needs to be updated. So I got some advice and went with Atlas software and went cash. I mean, and I kind of went through this process of like, okay, I'm going to cut out all the insurances that we take the least amount of first. So I didn't do cold turkey with the getting rid of the insurance, and it was a process over about a year's time. But we started out, I think we were over 90% insurance, and now we're 99% cash, and we're doing like it's so refreshing. I mean, we were waiting on collections, from insurance companies, and now people are prepaying us. We're getting collected in it, or we're getting collections in advance, and it just shows how much they value it, like how much I value it more, and so they're valuing it more. So that's been a blessing. But that was a really scary thing to go cash and then have my front desk assistant, who she came with the practice. When I bought the practice, she actually worked for the doctor that had passed away. So she moved here with all the equipment and she ran everything. So I showed up, I just started adjusting people, but she knew how to do all the scheduling and the billing, and she knew how to do everything. I just walked in and started adjusting people I would leave, and she collected. So she decided to leave, and I was like, "Oh man, I don't know how to do anything with the front desk. I don't know how to do anything with the software." And so God had sent this friend of mine that moved here from England to marry a friend that's a girl in our church, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not working, so I can help you." So he stepped in and helped me get the software in place and ran the front desk, and just it was amazing how that happened. So the I don't know, just I learned to get quiet and listen to innate, and I started doing that. And man, when I did that, just doors started opening up. It was amazing. So that was a big trial that we overcame, and now I'm so glad that we did it. This one says, uh, when we went to Wyoming to see my dad. My dad lives in Wyoming, and our dream was to have another baby, right? So my daughter at the time was like 13, and then we decided my wife wanted to have another baby, and so I prayed about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm getting up there. I'm actually 50 right now, so at the time I was like, mid 40s. And anyway, so we were pregnant, and we went and told my dad in Wyoming, and I told him, that we were pregnant. And he just broke down in tears because um, there's no like I'm the fifth generation John Schmidt, and so that was going to kind of stop. There was no more Johns, but now my son John Jace was born, and although that pregnancy was a miscarriage, so that was really tough because we came home after we had just given him the news that he was going to be a grandfather to a grandson that would carry on the name, and we miscarried, and it was like so devastating. Um, and so we decided to really just try again, and we got pregnant again. And so Now we have a 6-year-old son, and now he's running around at Kids DE, and he loves Kids DE. He loves Patrick and Emma, and he loves um, gosh, he loves everybody in there. It's so fun just seeing them all like kind of grow up together. That's just a dream come true as well. So that was a trial that I thought was bad at the time, but it turned out like amazing. And I know it's just going to continue to get better. So just a couple of those things, and I'll probably start to kind of wind down here. But there's a passage that stands out, I guess, in all this, and it's in Romans, and it's Romans 8:28. It says, "In all things, God works for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose." And so like, at times where there's just challenges, and you feel like, man, this is not good. This is not good. Uh, Actually, Chase told me to put on my reminders. It pops up every morning, 8:15. I am JJ Schmidt. Only good things happen to me. And you think, well, this is not good. This is a bad thing that's happening when everything breaks down, everything's falling apart around you. It doesn't feel like a good thing. But looking back, it really a lot of times you can see the good in it pretty quick sometimes, but not always. Sometimes you don't see it for a long time, if ever. But it is good in the light of eternity. And so that's just kind of what stands out to me is like life is good. I mean, life is amazing, and then we're gonna have challenges. It's it's part of the it's part of growing. The signs of life. One of the signs of life is growth, and growing can be very uncomfortable, but overall, it's totally worth it. Having challenges and overcoming those challenges and being with each other through those challenges. There was another passage in First Thessalonians 2, and it said, I think it was Paul who was talking to the people there, and he was like, I commend you because you shared your belief, this truth with me and with these people here, but you've also shared your lives, and that's what I see about DE. Is like DE, you share the principle, you share the truth about health and where true health comes from. You share that it comes from above down and inside out, but you don't leave it there. You don't just leave it like, hey, go and live this out. It's like you also share your lives with each other. And that was so powerful to me to see these tight knit relationships. And I know at times, walking through DE, if it's been your first time here recently, or you don't go very often. I've walked in a few times and I'm like, I don't really know who to talk to. There's all these it can be kind of feel cliquish because everyone's so connected. And you kind of walk through like, maybe I'll just go up to my room. I don't really know anybody. Maybe I don't really belong here. But I tell you what, when you lean into it and you just kind of like maybe stand next to a group of people that are talking. I did that with Steve and Eddie Martinez and Brian Lieberman on Friday night down there this past DE. I just kind of hung out, in the shadow for a minute and let them finish talking, and then I leaned into it, and I tell you what, just do that. Just it's uncomfortable, but it's okay. Like you need to, I think, go to give is the main thing, and go to DE, and I'll just sometimes I'll just say to myself, I'm going here not to so much to receive, but I want to go to give and share whatever it is that I can with whoever I cross paths with. There was a brother there, Alexander, a year ago in Clearwater, and we're sitting there Friday night, all talking, and I'd shared, how I decided to quit drinking alcohol, like all totally just about. I guess it's been over 10 years ago now, but it's not like I was not like alcoholic, but I noticed I would binge at times, and not like binge get drunk, but I noticed more times I had one or two drinks, the easier it was for me to not really count or pay attention when no one else was. So at like a New Year's Eve party about 10 years ago, I was getting kind of loud and obnoxious, buzzed a little bit, and my kids were embarrassed. And I'm like, you know what? This is just not worth it. So I was telling this group there this on the Friday night, and we're just kind of getting real with stuff that we're wanting to change and stuff we're wanting to cut out and stuff we're wanting to really, just live out the principle of health comes from above down, inside out. We don't need anything outside. We just need no interference. So we're having this conversation, and Alexander shared with me how he felt like God told him, or this, innate told him that he needed to stop drinking coffee. And I've been drinking coffee for 20 years. Every morning was kind of like our thing. My wife and me wake up, hey, let's go have, coffee at a quiet time. It's like our date every morning, really exciting time. And it's the way we started the day. But I left there that weekend and I thought, man, I need to really pray about this or just get quiet and listen to innate and listen to the spirit. And within like a day, I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to fast from coffee. I feel like maybe I have a dependency on caffeine. So I'm going to fast from it for a week and just see what happens. And a week later, I went through this terrible withdrawal. I was like having digestive issues. Like I really constipated, couldn't go. It was painful. And I was like, I knew that this was like bad, like because my body was telling me that I shouldn't be putting that in my body. And I mean, I was drinking really dark coffee. So some people, I mean, if you're not drinking a lot of coffee, maybe it's not a problem for you, but for me, it was, and I sensed it. So it's been over a year, and I haven't had any coffee, and it's so refreshing. It's so freeing when you start to be refined by innate. Innate wants to just guide us. It wants to direct us. It wants to protect us. It wants to help us grow and reach our potential. And so it just needs no interference. It doesn't need anything else. And so I'm just excited about learning more and more about what I need to change, to grow, to become the chiropractor, the father, the friend, the brother that I need to be to just meet my potential and just have really an eternal impact. And to do what Chase did for me, to invite people into my home or to have people over that I can mentor, which I've kind of seen the fruits of that already. I have a young doc in my office now. There's actually three of us in the office now, so we have two. I have two other chiropractors in here with me. That's really part of the vision, is to have a group of doctors seeing high volume, and it's happening. It's happening. It's coming. It's coming to light, and I'm so grateful just for the vision of Sid Williams. I read about that in like the Road to Success Starts in the Heart and Lasting Purpose, and his vision, and it just keeps getting bigger. So, really excited just to be a part of this group, this family, and I'm so thankful for you guys just continuing to, turn the crank, testifying every Tuesday, every 3 months, and can't wait to get together again in April. And yeah, just see maybe more people from Kansas City down there still too. So I think that's all I got. I just wanted to just share with you guys who I am, and hope to see you soon. So I appreciate your time.
God, JJ, what an amazing talk. That
Thank
was
you.
so great. Thank you. You
My pleasure.
totally summed DE up too when you said we share the truth and we share our lives. And that
Yeah.
is, and everybody is welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Nobody wants anything from anybody at DE other than just to see everybody thrive and grow, and just like you have. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So you've had some great comments. Make sure you go back and peek at those, because I think
Okay.
people really appreciated your authenticity and your heart. You were fantastic. Way to knock it out of the park on your
Thank you.
first
Thank you.
day.
Thank you.
Super job.
I gotta share my mug too. This says, "Actually, I can." So that I can, I will, I must attitude. So it helps me to,
Yes.
you take a sip of water and you're like, actually, I can.
Can.
I can do this. And I think just seeing the possibility, just coming to DE, just you see that, oh, that's possible. Like it's working for them, it can work for me too. So that's what I
Yeah.
love about it.
Yeah, 100%. You got it. You're living proof how faith in the principle is just going to just lead you in beautiful places. I'm excited for you. That was
Thank you.
great talk.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful Tuesday night. Have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Of course, we all love you all so much, and we will see you all next week.
See you later.